Jeff Jonas, IBM. You say that the future is irresistible. What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean is consumers are trying to figure out how to optimize their lives. Organizations are trying to optimize their existences. They're trying to cut down fraud and be more efficient. And when you do that, you end up offering things to people, and they go, yeah. And everyone's trying to create the next best thing. Your entrepreneurs that listen to your network, they're going, what's the next best thing everybody has to have? They're going to sit there and try to figure out, how's it going to go viral? How's it going to go viral? The way they're going to make it viral, they're going to make it irresistible. Or it won't go viral. Irresistible means it's going to be highly consumable, really easy to use, and do something really useful. And when you mix those two things, boom, you get viral. And what did it work? It was irresistible. You create some irresistible service, and you tell the consumer, hey, let me subscribe to this and that and this and that. Let us subscribe to these 5 things for you, and we're going to be able to predict this for you. And it might be you're going to live 5 years longer, and over the course of your life, you're going to spend an extra 300 hours with people you love. You're like, yay.
That's irresistible?
I think to many people it would be, not everybody. And I think an important part about the future, though, is choice.
Are you saying, though, that the future, in terms of its irresistibility, is about the intelligence of electronic data, that it will know more and more of what we want, and therefore the future will become increasingly irresistible?
I think consumers and businesses alike are trying to figure out how to take more advantage of data so they can be smarter. They can be more efficient with their time. They can have less identity theft. They can, reduce crime in this part of the city. And the fact that ad click-through rates is 1 in 1,000. I mean, talk about a blunt instrument, huh? You better hope investigative services don't use that kind of
so
quality analytic.
Advertising is not an irresistible model then in the future?
I think when you can make sense of transactions better, I think the quality of the ads that get presented are going to stop feeling like spam.
I don't always use this word because I don't know what it means, but
don't! Wait, no, stop!
It's the S word. Are you talking about the semantic web?
No, absolutely not.
You're not?
Oh, no!
What are you talking about? I mean, what is the semantic web, and what exactly
I don't know.
You don't know either, and you're the chief data guy at IBM.
I did a blog post, I think it was called Ontologies, and why I'm not caught up on that little word. And let's leave it at that.
So is there a word, though? Do we need a word? Do we need a Tim O'Reilly to come along and frame, to define this new age?
And if anybody on earth could, it would be Tim. No, really, to figure out how to frame it. I struggle with the words for it. I think of data finds data. I think of perpetual analytics. More recently, I'm using context accumulating systems. That means you're taking the green and the blue and the yellow puzzle pieces and you're putting them in the same place so you can make a better prediction.
But it is something new and something big, right? Even if we don't have a word for it.
I think how data comes, yes. And here's the two different visions. We could take the same data. It's a big pile of puzzle pieces. They're different sizes, different shapes, different colors. You don't know if it's 1 puzzle or 5, but it's a giant pile. Look at it. What can you do with that to figure out if it's good news or bad news? What's the best place to go in the Greek islands for a vacation? Just a big pile of puzzle pieces. Contrast that with taking those puzzle pieces to a board and seeing how they fit. And there might be chunks missing. There might be parts that are duplicate. There might be a piece that's a lie because somebody lied. But that's the closest you're going to know to knowing it and making some prediction about what's the right thing to do. That's what the journey's going to be. That's why the gap about organizations getting dumber, this growing enterprise amnesia where they just start forgetting more and more that's knowable, is going to change because of context accumulating systems. And it's going to have all these crazy cool properties where organizations get smarter, they get faster, the predictions they make are better, there's going to be less waste, we're going to optimize traffic systems, so cars will spend less time sitting around and idling.
So it can solve the problem in Washington, D.C., solve the problem with America?
Yeah, I can't say it'll solve all problems, but I think, I'll tell you something else. Now and then I describe this in excruciating detail, and they go, man, is that AI? And I go, no.
It sounds like AI.
No,
sometimes.
I wouldn't even. You know what? The only thing I would say about it is, if you're going to do AI, this would be one of the first steps. I mean, this would just be like on that journey to AI. You'd have to be able to take the data across an enterprise and weave it together. Here's the thing. Is it if you're looking at a bunch of open source data and you're looking at H1N1 because you're a country in Asia and you're trying to do some analysis, you better know the difference. Is it 5 cases of H1N1 in 5 cities or 1 case reported 5 times? If you can't count, you can't predict. Every time I go around and somebody shows me their fancy system that has a lot of data in it from a lot of sources, I just ask if it can count. If you don't know that Starbucks 123 and the Starbucks on this street corner and this latitude, longitude are the same place, how can you predict? You can't see the vector, the direction it's heading, and you can't see the velocity, how fast it's moving. So that's a basic. When you take puzzle pieces to a puzzle, it turns out, you go, oh, it's not 5 cases of H1N1, it's 1. Oh, it's not. I don't have 5 different customers, each with 1 account. I have 1 customer with 5 accounts. The place you do that is when you weave the puzzle together. And that's the story. That's my story of data finds data. That's puzzle pieces finding the puzzle.
Do you do puzzles at home?
No. I did when I was a kid, though. But I'll tell you what, now, the algorithms that I work on are so similar to the way that you put a puzzle together. I can watch somebody put a puzzle together, and it gives me new ideas about
for our audience who wants to get into this data business, one way of starting is just to buy a complex puzzle.
Oh, yeah. I think if they went and bought 2 or 3 puzzles, had some of their friends steal some of the pieces, never show them the boxes, and make a pile, and say, what can you make of it? If they really think about that process, I'll give you one little technical tip. When you get a puzzle piece out of the box that has some black on it, and your puzzle, most of the pieces have black on it, you don't try it on every piece. When you get a puzzle piece out of the box, you look for a discriminating feature. You look for maybe some green next to some yellow. Maybe for business data, it means an email address, a name, and a cell phone number. So you take the discriminating features, and now you look at the puzzle for only the pieces that have that feature. And now you find a smaller universe of them, candidates. My algorithms work exactly the same way. That's how you make it fast. That's how you get to billions of rows, hundreds of millions of things in real time, thousands of things a second, making predictions that do stuff.
Jeff Jonas, I don't know about the future, but you're irresistible. Thank you.
Great.